This is Dogwood Chronicles. I was listening. So I found it's easier for me to listen to something that, like an article that is then on audio so you can hear it. And I saw something about, I love music, so I saw something in Bishop Barron's, one of his posts with multiple authors, and one was talking about someone named M.J. Lenderman. And I believe I've actually heard this name like a few months ago. He's 25 years old, so he's completely a peer of my own kids. And which I wasn't sure if this was a 30-year-old or a 20-year-old. And basically, he throws a lot. He was raised Catholic in North Carolina, I think Asheville, maybe. And he's kind of alternative music, a little bit Neil Young. I heard definitely some Allman Brothers and Melissa in one of the songs. I think it's called Joke or something. And I listened to a bunch of his songs, like 6 or 8 songs. And they were pretty good. But he throws in a lot of Catholicism in there. And in this article I read the article and I listened to it a couple times. But they say it so fast, it's hard to follow, especially when it's something that's kind of somewhat deep. It's talking about beige Catholicism. That's what he's accusing this kid of, this M.J. Lenderman. So he writes things about how he's talking to a girlfriend or a girlfriend he wants as a girlfriend, saying he wouldn't be in the seminary studying, discerning to be a priest if she would have been with him. Well, this guy has not been catechized at all, because it doesn't work like that. We're all called to a vocation. 90% of us are called to the vocation of marriage and family and being fathers and mothers. The rare person is it who is called to be a priest or celibate. And when I say called, God speaks to your heart. So in order to be called, and in order to answer that call, you've got to be listening. And in order to listen to the call of God, you have to have silence. You also have to pray. We talked about this in our class the other day. It was referenced, yesterday. We were listening. I had a small group. I was in a small group with some teens and adult, or not teens, 12 and 13-year-olds. We're talking about Samuel and Eli. Samuel was like 12 years old, and he's training to be a prophet, basically, or helping the prophet Eli, who's old. And Samuel hears a voice, and it says, "Samuel, Samuel." So he comes to Eli. He goes, "Yes, you called me. I didn't call you. Go back to bed." Again, "Samuel, Samuel." "Yes." He goes to Eli. He goes to Eli. "What is it?" "I didn't call you, son. Go back to bed." And then finally, he hears, "Samuel, Samuel." And he goes to Eli again. Finally, Eli realizes he's being called by the Lord. So Samuel is starting to pray. He's in the religious life. He's living in, I don't know, whatever, wherever he's living with, where Samuel and the other prophets are, I guess. And so he's starting to learn the voice of God. He's praying and he's able to hear the voice. And so discerning, you have to be praying in order to recognize the voice. Let's just say God's voice is Spanish and you're an English speaker. If you're not learning and practicing Spanish, you're not going to understand when God speaks. You get it? So anyway, this guy is talking, Lenderman is talking about being a priest, but he wasn't called to be a priest. He went there because he couldn't get a girlfriend, according to the song, because he got rejected by a girl. So he just says, "I'm going to scrap it all and be celibate." That's someone who clearly is not well formed in a Catholic faith and in the way that vocation works. You got to be called. If you're going to be in the right vocation, you need to recognize the voice. So, yeah. So we don't just say, I want to become a priest. Okay, the optimum way to become a priest is that God calls you to become a priest. That's why you become a priest. That's the reason. Not because, as he said, I know I get free room and board. I get free clothes. And yeah, that guy is ill-formed, and that's what... And the phrase beige Catholicism came up. And I read an article from Bishop Barron. I only read it once, so I'll probably get this wrong, but I think, and this may go back to Vatican II, but we were supposed to go out into the world and bring the world back into the church. But instead we went out into the world and became the world. And I think beige Catholicism is this like these two ladies that I was talking about, who the advice columnist and the mother who was worried that she has a non-binary child. We try to accommodate, and the church tries to accommodate, but instead it becomes the world. Instead of bringing the world to become children of God, which is what the church is supposed to do, help us all to get to heaven, we allowed it to bring us to hell, to the wrong direction. The world isn't going to lead you to God. The church is going to lead you to God. The world is going to lead you to worldly things, to accommodating your appetites. Everyone needs to be warm. Everyone needs to be full in the belly and not hungry. But, okay, anyway. So, this kid, this singer, has a lot of base of Catholicism, but apparently he was poorly catechized. Maybe he didn't listen. Maybe he wasn't given a good lesson to listen to. I don't know. So let's pray for MJ Lenderman. He's got a foundation, apparently. If it's a bad foundation. When I left the church, it was just not because I renounced it. I just sort of forgot the church existed. But I did have a good foundation. I did have Catholic school. I did have 2 Catholic parents. We were active. They taught us the faith. So, anyway, let's pray for MJ Lenderman. And let's pray for all the kids that aren't learning well their faith, that someone would come into their life that would give them, that would open that question, who is Jesus? And what did he do? If he raised from the dead, is he actually God? And if he's God, that means there is a God. And if there is a God, that means probably this God is the one who made the heavens and the earth. And if all that's the case, then that means what we do here on earth is going to be related to how we live eternity. So, yeah, that was a little confusing. So let's pray for discernment and recognize who Jesus is.